Welcome to the Fresh Today Wexford Football League. From now on, it's the Fresh Today Wexford Football League. Homegrown Wexford company backing grassroots football right here in the southeast. The crowd's growing and even more media coverage. The future looks bright. Fresh Today and the Wexford Football League. Stronger together, building communities on and off the pitch. Welcome to the Fresh Today Wexford Football League show. We're back after a bit of break, Mikie, and we're delighted to be joined by Lindsay O'Donoghue, but you were a bit shy last week yourself to have a show when I wasn't around.
No, I wasn't shy. I couldn't miss the opportunity after Shamrock Rovers bet the mine 4-1 Eden, so I wasn't letting you get away with that. You were out gallivanting on holidays again?
I was on holidays, yes. I'm entitled to a holiday, Nicky. It was very enjoyable, but you could have went on the show yourself and slated the mine like you do every week anyway, without me here to defend them.
No, to be honest with you, it was better when you're around, so we couldn't miss up the opportunity.
I'm sure you'll get there later. So Lindsay, look, you're here to talk about brand ambassadors Fresh Today. It's a great thing out in communities. Maybe you just explain to us what exactly it is and what it entails.
Yeah, so a few years back, we kind of started thinking about, what would be actually impactful for the kids. You hear CSR thrown around all the time, corporate social responsibility, but what does that actually mean? So as a parent, and we got together collectively and started thinking about what would kids actually really want to see and what kind of helps promote what we believe our ethos are in our brand, which is healthy minds, healthy bodies. You really can't have one without the other. So we started initially with Connor McDonald about 3 years ago. He was our first brand ambassador. It's the OG of Fresh Today. And he started going around to school and doing in the beginning, we started off believing they'd kind of be GAA workshops. But what we found is that they actually kind of became activity workshops. A lot of kids these days, they're not out and about. They're not climbing trees. They're not riding bikes. And sometimes you have to fundamentally strip it back and even kind of teach them the fundamentals of movement again and enjoying activity and sport and an active lifestyle and how that coincides then with a healthy diet and just kind of go back to basics. So we started with Connor. Had a fantastic year. He was an absolutely fantastic ambassador. The following year, we added a nutritionist to us as well that plays kind of nutrition games with students. And now we're up to 11 different ambassadors. And we've tried to branch out a bit. We found ourselves a little GAA heavy in the early days with the likes of Adrian Mullen. We now have Michael Fenley doing leadership courses for us. We have Keen Malloy from Wexford. We have an A. Curran from Camogie, Wexford Camogie. We now have a Birds of Prey workshop. We have a dance fitness workshop. And we're delighted now with our latest addition to have Mikie Rowe come on board as a Fresh Day brand ambassador to bring the football workshop into schools.
So that's tonight's announcement is Mikie Rowe is officially a brand ambassador for both Wexford Football League and Fresh Today.
That's it, and we're delighted to have him. He fits in great with the culture, relaxed, easygoing, and just really enjoys getting out there with the kids.
Just touching on something there, you mentioned about children not getting probably the activities later in the evening when they finish school. My actually daughter Neve, she's in St. Senan's in Enniscorthy. She's starting a boot camp tomorrow after school. So they're great initiatives, aren't they, that the schools are starting to bring into the curriculum.
It's kind of the age we're in now for a lot of different reasons and factors. I know even with my own, you can't just let them out your front door to play. There's security concerns, there's worries. So we're finding more and more ways that through schools, through community centers, through initiatives, through sporting clubs, that you do need to get the kids out and sporty and enjoying a bit of movement and activity, but in a safe, controlled environment.
Are the schools, and do you get much uptake from the schools, or the school's glad to have it, or does it take a bit of work to get into the schools?
Well, I tell you, it's twofold for the schools. One, it's a good initiative, and they're getting a lot of kind of high-profile people coming in, the likes of Mikey or Charlie Tector from Leinster Rugby, Michael Fennelly, Connor McDonald. But also, it gives the teachers a bit of a break. We come in, we take over, we are there in each class we do 4 hours in the school. We spend about 45 minutes with each class group and run through the full range of the workshop. And then we always end with some fun and games and usually a few prizes along the way.
And you're involved in both primary and secondary schools, so is the ambassadors in both schools, or is it just solely working on primary schools first?
It depends on the workshop. We're really trying to hit kids early on to get them going. So we're really focusing on the primary, but we do have certain tempered workshops, such as the leadership workshop with Michael, that would be a lot more geared towards secondary. Keen Malloy is actually kicking off soon a mental health workshop, and it's really focused on being a little bit kind of a public sporting figure. And the days that you're a hero, the days you're a zero, how your community feels about you. I know Wexford can be quite harsh on their sports guys from time to time. So we are trying to temper it for age appropriate and different things.
Oh, it's great to hear about the mental health thing, because I think it's definitely a big thing, and we touched on it a bit, I think, last year, the year before, Mikie.
Yeah.
In soccer, when you're a manager, you're open to that world big time when you're a manager, people ringing. So I think that's massive. And so is Keane in that area of work, or is he?
I tell you, he's been mentoring with Michael Fenley since we started last September, and they've developed his own kind of workshop. But I think it's something that he's grown up more than maybe some of us have in that social media age. And he's seen a lot of people close to him maybe go different directions, or seen the effects that a bad day on the field has on social media, i.e. your mental health, and watched how some people unravel under that. And it's just something he feels passionate about, that he came to me and said, Lindsay, this is something I really want to get into because I feel strongly about it.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. But even the whole ethos around getting into the sports and the more activity into like we were growing up as children, you're out on the street, you're up in the field, you were playing left, right, and centre. That opportunity is just not there for children anymore. And to see, like, when we were in school, you would have had hurling camps, Pat Sinnott and these guys coming in and teaching you, Joe Murphy, and teaching you. To see soccer now going into the school is brilliant as well. Like, and to get lads playing, and boys and girls just playing a multi of sports, and even the dancing is brilliant as well.
The more things we can expose kids to, the more chance that they're going to find something that, yep, that's my niche, and find it's such a knock-on effect too, because they get a social group from it, they get a bit of confidence, they find their way, where sometimes, especially in this digital world, leaving kids to their own devices or literally on a device, it can be quite insular. I think it's really important that we expose them, and we're delighted to have the option of the soccer coming in, because more and more GAA is no longer the be-all and end-all in rural Ireland. There's a lot of different cultures and kids and things. And I know even for myself, coming in as a foreigner, it was kind of complex to me. I need a helmet, I need this, I need that. I can handle the soccer ball. My kid can do that one, no problem. And my child actually does. She prefers it. She loves it.
So I think it's going to be massive for soccer, because I worked in a secondary school, like you and my two children are going to St. Aidan's. In the secondary school, I've seen rugby come in, I've seen GA come in, I've actually seen basketball come in. I've heard Darcy going on to soccer, or she rugby today, she GA. You'd never hear anyone come in, and I've never seen anyone come in from the soccer. So I think to get a high profile person like Mikie, who's only had to be named on the Division 1 Team of the Year,
and nominated for the League of Ireland Division 1 Player of the Year as well. So two great massive.
And he's a qualified coach, which is going to be massive.
He's such a genuine guy. We're actually quite selective with who we work with and who wants to work with us. There's got to be a synergy there. And from the minute we met Mikie, it's just pure, genuine energy. It's a genuine passion and love of the sport and a care for others. And we just thought, God, we're so lucky to snap him up. We were delighted to be working with him.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, look, thanks for coming in and explaining all that to us. And look, we're delighted to have you on board with the league, and it's great to see that it's not just a name across the league table.
Yeah, definitely. And keep up the great work in the schools. It's brilliant. And if we can help out anyway at all, give us a shout. And
well, watch this space. I think we all have a huge event coming this year on behalf of Wexford League, and that we're really excited about. So no, we will definitely, you'll hear from us soon with something fun for everybody to get involved in.
Yeah, perfect. Cheers. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks guys for having me.
And now we're joined by Man of the Moment. It's been a great week for Mr. Mikie Rowe. He's been named on the Players Player of the Year in the Division 1 League of Ireland. He's been nominated for the Divisional Player of the Year, and he's also been announced as brand ambassador for Fresh Today for Wexford Football League. Welcome to the show, Mikie.
Cheers.
Good week.
Yeah, great week. I suppose after the disappointment of missing out on the playoffs, I think it was a nice little lift the last week or 10 days to obviously get the nomination and get voted into the Team of the Year. It's always nice to win individual accolades, and then obviously coming on board with Fresh Today has been it's been really enjoyable so far, and something I'm looking forward to more in the future.
Does it beating or winning the Youths All-Ireland final with Mick Larkin?
No, not quite, not quite. Unbelievable
So, well,
times.
congratulations, Mikey. It's a great achievement, and fair play to you. You've come a long way from that time when you won down in Osier Park. So over to America, and you've dotted a few League of Ireland clubs since.
Yeah, Nicky, it's mad to think that's over 10 years ago now, that down in Osier Park. It was, I suppose when you reflect, those were some of the most enjoyable times in my career, playing with obviously the county underage team and playing with Camboyle at the time. It's, even going to Camboyle games now on a Sunday morning, you still do miss it, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was, I think, and this is something I've spoke about before, where, no matter what level you're playing at, the game you're about to play is the biggest game in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of football, and that's the beauty of sport. So, no, I always look back on those times of playing with Camboyle and playing with the county team, and they'll always be some of my fondest memories.
Yeah.
Great days.
Look, we all play sport to win as a team and all that, but I think the individual awards, I think getting on that Division 1 Player of the Year, but when it's picked by the fellow players, that must feel massive to you, that your fellow players picked you, like. Yeah,
and I think a lot of players will try downplay it and say that the individual stuff doesn't matter. But I'll be honest, it means a hell of a lot to me. And obviously, of course, you'd pick a team trophy over it any day of the week. But you work so hard day in, day out, and year in, year out, that it is nice. So no, definitely something I'm really proud of.
And to be a player at your level, you have to be selfish. Yourself, like, because you have to put yourself first to be in peak condition and everything like that. So I suppose it's just a little, not to say like it's after paying off.
Yeah, definitely. And look, it's been a really good 2 years at Wexford. I've played arguably my best football, and that's probably given me the platform to be in these situations. So, when I was at Galway, you're a little bit of a squad player, and you'll chip in with goals here or there, but obviously James Keddy brought me in originally, and then Stephen Elliott this past year, have given me the platform to giving you the confidence to go try be one of the main men, and give me the confidence that you can be one of the best players in the league. So that all plays into it as well.
We'll talk about then your role, the brand ambassador for Fresh Today. I think for me it's massive. You see all these brand ambassadors with different companies, but Fresh Today have been brilliant locally, and now to get involved with the soccer and to have someone from our soccer community going into the schools, I think it's going to be massive. And I think it's a no-brainer with yourself. As Lindsay said, you're a gentleman, but you're also a qualified coach. So I think that's massive to be able to bring that into the schools. So you looking forward to that?
Yeah, no, firstly it's a huge honour that you're even in those conversations. I think it comes back, I suppose, to just handling yourself right, even when things aren't going well on the pitch. It's important that you still are a good person, portrayed as a good person. Obviously, meeting kids after the game and genuinely giving them time rather than pretending you're giving them time, I think is a huge thing. It's signing a jersey or having a couple of words with them or asking them how their team is going or are they playing on the weekend means a whole lot. So it's an honour for me, and Fresh Today have been incredible. It's an area, football in schools, that's obviously hasn't been around. Not existed. And Fresh Today are starting that now, where obviously I'm going into schools, I'm coaching kids, and firstly from their point of view, it's the activity aspect. Obviously they're providing healthy meals for the schools, so it's the activity aspect of going in and coaching kids and getting them out of the classroom for an hour. It's great. And then it's the role model aspect of I was just a normal kid in a school like they were not so long ago. The JA players that are ambassadors that go in were the same, the Leinster rugby players, whatever it may be. So it's giving kids the opportunity to aspire to something that they might think is not possible. We were all there once, so that side of it is great as well. And then there's the other aspect of it, of just giving kids opportunities. The first school I went into, there was 2 or 3 kids in each class that had never kicked a football before, and the smiles on their faces at the end of it was unbelievable. They absolutely loved it. So it's given every kid the opportunity to go and play football and fall in love with football, and this is something I know Wexford FC are looking at potentially getting into schools as well, which will bring this on even more. And so it's great for the county. Like you said, it's not existed, but it's something that can be grown on
It's
for
completely
sure.
non-existent in primary schools. You are doing a little bit now with that the blitz thing to do with the FEI, but secondary schools is solely down to the teachers involved in it. And like you take Enniscorthy CBS have great success in the last couple of years, but when we were going to school,
No, there was not.
there was no soccer in Enniscorthy CBS. So
No.
So I think are you hoping to get the schools right across the 4 districts, or is it just working on one area, or is it going to be right across the?
No, so it's going to be right across. I'm actually in Gorey tomorrow. I was in Coolcots in Wexford about 2 weeks ago, and so it'll be all around the county. Fresh Today have been so good in terms of giving the opportunities, and then it's definitely an area, and I'll touch on it again with Wexford and the chats I've had with the clubs. This has been the forefront, because for me, I truly believe, and I talk about this when we talk about FAI funding or anybody mentions that to me, it has to start with the grassroots up. You know, the 2 boys today, Ryan Butler and Oisin McDonough, playing with Glenbarntown and playing with Bunclody. They both came into Wexford FC, obviously, which was the stepping stone for them, and Ryan has done great this year. But, if coaching the players at a young age is important, but for me, coaching the coaches is also just as important. You know what I mean? It's like if a structure can be put in place, and I know that's what the Wexford FC Foundation want to do, is go in and coach the players, go in and coach the coaches in grassroots clubs. But for me, that's so important, because the grassroots clubs need help. You know what I mean?
I couldn't agree with you more. Even when we were coming through, like the playing underage, you had the likes of your Ducker Hawkins, your Mossy Whelans. I even went up to Dublin myself for a little while to get the level of training that is now on the doorstep, that can be on the doorstep of clubs down in Wexford. And I like the Wexford Football Alliance to try and get everybody joined up into one route to try and bring this from boys and girls the whole way through. And even you just touched on the 2 chaps, the under-17s there. We had Mia Whelan last week scoring 4 goals in the final, get man of the match, player of the tournament for Leinster. So there's so much talent within the county, and we've only named just them 3 because they are at the top of where they are, because she was with the Irish under-15s, was it last week as well, out in the Czech. So to get the coaching in the county and to get all the school boys, all the school girls together, I think is brilliant. And what you're going to do, I've been lucky enough to witness a couple of your sessions up on the Astro, and when we ended up sitting around the table chatting about who could be a brand ambassador, you were the first one came to my head, especially when you were involved in children, so because your coaching was top class. So if there's anybody as a child, do get in contact with you, because it's top class, and you're of an age that you're not too old for these. You're still a child yourself near enough, even though you're 28.
29 now.
29. So I think it's a brilliant fit.
What would you class as a success of the role as being a Fresh Day brand ambassador?
I think for me, the first thing is providing the kids with an opportunity. For me, it's you're not going into school to make kids, go from A to B in terms of ability in the space of an hour. You're trying to create a positive relationship between the kids and football in an hour, which you can easily do. If I go in and I'm enthusiastic and positive and join in the session and give them opportunity for success. You don't want to be going in and doing difficult drills and they're thinking, right, maybe this is not for me. You want the kids scoring goals. You want the kids making good passes. You want the kids just enjoying it more than anything. And then, they're going home to their parents and then they're saying, oh, well, I played football today for the first time. Maybe I can go down on Saturday and play with their local club. And then all of a sudden we've more kids involved in football in the county on the boys and girls side, because the classes are pretty evenly split. And the ability I would say the level of girls football and ladies football in the county is coming on so much.
Massive.
You mentioned Maya Whelan there. I seen her play a couple of years ago, and it's no surprise that she's scoring 4 goals, and she's one of the best players in the country at her age now. That's the really So that's what I would class as success, is getting more kids into football and creating that relationship between football and the kids and making sure it's a positive one.
I asked you the big question. You staying in Wexford?
So,
Don't worry, Mikey, we cut that one out.
Right. Cheers, Mikey.
Thank you very much, Mikey.
Welcome to the Fresh Day Wexford Football League show, where myself and Nicky are going to look back at the results and fixtures coming up. And Nicky wants me to go back 2 weeks because he wants to bring in the Rovers mind game again. So I'll get that over. Rovers won 4-1. Nicky, move on.
Very true, Aidan.
Last 2 weeks in the Premier. Bad 2 weeks for Gorey and Demine, in fairness. Great 2 weeks for Celtic, right back in it, and Rovers right back in it. Norden only had the one game and got the win. It's a interesting Premier League, to say the least, so far this year.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And Norden definitely bounced back 2 weeks ago against Wexford Bows, beating them 5-1 in a derby the same day that Rovers beat the Mine. So yeah, it was a big stepping stone for both clubs after North being beaten. Like it was by Gorey. It was interesting to see how they were going to bounce back, and they came back fairly strong in that one. So Fort Celtic had a massive win last weekend, and they're after pulling themselves back up into the top four. So
yeah, look, it's been a tough 2 weeks for Bows as well. 2 heavy defeats. Across the bag. I know they didn't play the week before, but their last 2 games been getting beat 2-0 in Boat and come back to 2-2 draw. I think for me, Cora last week and Bunclody last week, they're massive. I know the 2 of them got a point, but they're 2 up. Bunclody 3-1 up, and to lose it so close to the end, or not lose it, be pinned back to 3-all, and Cora being pinned back to 2-all. I think that'll feel worse than defeats they've had maybe already in the season.
Yeah, definitely. And sure, I suppose with both being there, Aidan, when you've thrown away a result and you might have drawn and you're coming out of it, it actually feels worse than being beaten at times, because you've had that just in your grasp and then it's whipped away. Bunclody 3-0 or was it 3-1?
3-1 up.
3-1 up, and
mine went 1 up, and then first Bunclody came back.
So like, after that, you would have definitely thought they would have held on. But in fairness to the Mine lads, they dug back in, got a 3-all result out of it. It's not the greatest result for them. It gives them a small bit of ground to try and catch up. But look at the Premier at the minute. There's a lot of clubs dropping points.
Yeah, Ferns are probably an interesting one. I was impressed by him, but they're drawn. Drew 1-all with Cora, then drew 0-all with who did draw 0-all with last week? Courtown. Look, Andrew's doing a great job there, but probably needs to look at picking up a win soon enough, or will be dragged into it. They're 6 points off 6 games. They're only that 1 win and 3 draws, 2 defeats, but they'll probably see this week's game against Crossbeg. Look, we'll get to them games in a minute, but
they seem to be very, very hard to be beaten. Like, they haven't been beaten by much, but it's getting to the stage now. They're 6 this weekend. It'll be their 7th game in, where they'll need to pick up a couple of wins. Because the likes of Cork Ramblers and these guys across the bakes and them are getting stronger. The GA players are back in among them. So
if you look at the goals, you said they're hard to beat. Look at the goals against. They've only conceded 8 goals out of 6 games towards Bows of 18, Cork of 13, Bunclody of 19. A lot of that, to me, is down. I think they made the sign of the year with the goalkeeper. I actually haven't seen him playing at the goal, and maybe obviously clean sheet last week, only 1 the week before. I think I said it before. I think a lot of clubs maybe fell asleep when he was available, and fair play to Andrew to go sign them. But it was just to keep that rate up of conceding goals just like that. I think they'll be safe enough. But they'll probably need that win just to.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. Like, you look at it, and North End are sitting at the top of the table there, and the top 2, like Shamrock Rovers, 6 games, 13 goals conceded. North End 6 games played, 7 goals conceded, and they're perceived to be in a title hunt. So if Ferns continue that mean defence, they probably will start turning a couple of draws into wins and things like that. But they need to start happening from now shortly.
Would it be fair to say the surprise team for the wrong reasons is Gorey? 2 defeats, 2 town teams going up, 2 Enniscorthy teams going up and beating them in Gorey. I think they hadn't lost for nearly 2 or 3 years up there, and now they've lost, or I think the last 2 up there.
Yeah.
Good win for Rovers, who were missing a few as well, in fairness.
Yeah, a very, very good win last weekend for the Rovers lads. I seen Gorey twice, actually. I seen him the day they played the Mine, and I seen him obviously against Shamrock Rovers the weekend. And they look very strong across the back, even though they conceded 2 goals. But they're very strong across the back. Their midfield is strong, but they just seem to be missing a sparkle up front. And I don't know, like there was no Luke Green, there was no Paul Brennan's injured. I think Adam Turrett, he's injured as well. So they'll need to replace that bit of, and I don't know what it is, whether it's a bit of sparkle or a little bit of life up front. The 2 days that I seen them against the Mine and Rovers, they seem very, very static, and it just seemed to be easy to defend against them, both for Rovers and the Mine that day. So like if I know they scored 5 against North End, but I wasn't down at that game, so I can't really comment on it. But it was a brilliant result for them. But to be definitely disappointed with them dropping them 6 points at home.
Yeah, then Bunclody being another surprise for me. I was expecting them maybe to push on a bit this year, but they've gone the other way. Just the 2 points are going to be cut adrift fairly soon if they don't.
Yeah, another club. Yeah, I was surprised as well. I kind of thought Bunclody would have been definitely comfortable mid-table or a little bit above, but it hasn't gone right yet. Anyway, 2 points after 7 games. They look like they're struggling to score. Well, it's a terrible ratio, really. It looks like they're struggling to score, and they're conceding a hell of a lot of goals. 19 goals in 7 games. So it's like it's not looking good. It's not looking great for them at the minute. I know we're only 7 games in, but like it's a big turnaround. You look at like your Crossabeg are 6 points clear of them. Coretown, who are only just after coming up, 5 points clear of them. Do you know, like so, like them gaps are not going to be easy haul back because it's a tight Premier League.
Yeah, I just think last Sunday I wasn't at the match, but from what I'm hearing from different people, in fairness, a lot of people come back with the same story that they probably should have won the game handy, and they just couldn't put the Mine away. And then when Mine introduced, again, a bit like the Crossbeg game, Mine probably got stronger near the end of the game. And so I just think Sunday will be a massive body blow to them.
Yeah, it is. And it will definitely, as we said earlier, it'll feel worse than a defeat.
And then the fixtures, we have a game, 2 midweek games. We have Mine and Coretown will probably be finished with. Again, this goes out onto the air. And then we've Cork and Shamrocks Friday night. Then for Celtic and North End, Bows and Gorey and Crossabeg Ferns. I think it's great these evening games happening. If not, maybe I presume the Coretown Mine game is on because I think the Mine could have a stag party the weekend. I'm not 100% sure. And same at Rovers and Cork. If not, I think the game might have been called off, but now we have these facilities that we can actually play the games.
No, sure, look, it's brilliant, and it gives us something to go and look at as well and during the week. Get around to seeing clubs like, because I haven't seen Coretown play yet this year, so like you'll get up and get an opportunity to get a good look at them. It's a big game for the Mine. It's a big game for both of them.
Must win for Mine.
But it's a massive game for the Mine lads after the last couple of weeks. Like they look like they were after.
The league will get interesting now because everyone should be getting back at full strength regarding the GA players. I know for some reason this year an awful lot of teams, every team seems to be struggling with injuries, which is an unusual. Everyone seems to be out 2 or 3 with injuries.
Yeah, I think I put. You know, now this might sound a little bit crazy, but I think the pitches have been very, very hard. You know, up until the last couple of weeks. Like I was even up on Shamrock Rovers pitch there during the week, and it's still rock solid. So I think a lot of the injuries are coming down to playing on such hard surfaces. Like the GA pitches are extremely hard as well. But look, it doesn't matter. Injuries go out the window. That's the Mine Shamrock or the Mine Coretown is a big game.
It's a must win for the Mine. Cork Shamrocks then Friday night. That's in the Astro in town or Cork's Astro?
In Enniscorthy, I think. Yeah. No, it is in Enniscorthy. Yeah, look at Cork after getting a load of bodies back. They'll be very disappointed after the result last week, 2-0 up.
Undefeated in the last 2 games, 2 draws, so it'll be.
Yeah, they'll be feeling the same as Bunclody. It's definitely 2 points dropped against Crossabeg. In fairness to the lads, the Rovers lads, they played really well against the Mine. They played really, really well against Gorey. And
in a tight race now.
So yeah, they could well be. But like they have to be beating the likes of Cork Ramblers, and like it's easy to get up for the games against your local derby and your Gories and your North Ends. Shamrock Rovers have to put the likes of the Corocks and the Ferns and Bunclodies to bed this year if they want to be in a title hunt. And they'll be, I'm sure they'll be trying to do that Friday night.
I'll give Shamrocks a win there.
Yeah, thanks, Ed.
Bows Gorey, interesting one. Bows have shifted, as you said earlier, a lot of goals. Gorey, 2 bad results. In between the 2 bad results was probably the result of the year so far, beating North End.
Yeah.
So you'd fancy Gorey, wouldn't you?
You have to fancy him. Like I wouldn't. The way the results have fell, I wouldn't be writing Gorey off completely. I suppose if you look at the last 2 weeks, Gorey, it's a game that might suit Gorey. Both haven't looked good over the last couple of weeks, so Gorey, it might be an opportunity for them to get down and get the ball down and play a little bit again and try and build a bit of confidence. I'm sure Bows are not going to roll over, but yeah, you'd have to fancy the Gorey lads on that one.
And then Crossabeg and Ferns, I'm going to put down that for a draw for a simple reason. 2 of them are drawing a lot of games lately. Crossabeg have drawn the last 2. Ferns have as well, so I'll go draw. It's actually a big game for both as well, because I think Crossabeg, fairness to him, if I personally think if I would hit the Fort Celtic North End game, I think that game is massive towards what happens in the league, and I'll explain in a minute. But I think Crossabeg will see themselves, and I know Joe, and you know Joe, he's an ambitious fella. He would see himself now with everyone back that he could maybe, not saying get into a title race, but being around there. But if they lose, they're going to be dragged right back into that bottom group. And the Ferns as well, for me, it's probably been one way the team of the year, because I think a lot of people expect the Ferns to be where Bunclody are. I think at the start with everything, but they've only 8 goals conceded.
Yeah.
And struggling to win a game, maybe alright, but I just feel Ferns have to win this one, or there could be.
It is a big one. We've been quite lucky over the last 2 years. We've said this a lot on the show that they're all big games. They actually are all big games because there's so little between any of the sides over the last couple of years. You know, like even you go down to the last 2 or 3 games of the season, it was up to 6 clubs could have been relegated, and it looks like it could go down to the wire this year on both ends of the table. Even though we're only 6-7 games into the season. So like every game is big, and there's definitely pressure on every game, and especially for, as you said, Crossabeg probably see themselves as trying to, after being in the Premier for the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's time to push on. That's what I was trying to say.
Joe has been there now a couple of years. It is his team, so he has to progress. So there's that pressure on him. The pressure on Andrew is he's new into the job. He has to try and keep him in it. So yeah, there's definitely massive pressure on both of them, and for that reason, I probably agree with what you said at the start. I'd say Andrew would. Both of them want to win, but I'd say they'd accept a draw. Yeah,
and then massive game, and my reason why this is massive for Celtic North End, I think if North End win this, I think they go run away with the league personally. But if Fort Celtic can win this, I think we could have a league title winner with the lowest point tally since we went to an 11-team Premier, because you'd have 2 big guns over the last few years. Gorey and North End, 7 games in, both last 2 games.
Definitely, and if you go back over the league tables, I'd say you'll have to go back 10 years longer, even 15 years a long time anyway, that clubs have lost 2-3 games. Maybe the odd season here and there. I think what did you use when it lost 1, did you?
No, we lost 2, but it was, again, it was because it was a 4-horse race, right? So
yeah,
it was ourselves, Gorey and North End. That's why I think if North End win this one, with Gorey after losing last week, and I know Rovers are in it as well, and Rovers will push him, but I just think if Fort can, how North End react and how Gorey react now, 7 games in and looking around, we've lost 2 games.
Yeah.
How they react to that, it's an unknown for them.
Yeah, definitely. And like Gorey have probably lost more this year than they've lost in the last couple of years, and still finished second in the league, you know. So so yeah, look, it's a massive game. There's been very little between North End and Gorey, or Fort Celtic should I say, and Gorey, or North End. Getting all mixed up now, Eden, but North End and Fort Celtic. Like if you look at the cup final last year, I thought Fort Celtic were in cruise control until they probably took off Patsy Malone in the game, and and things like that. A couple of little subs went against Fort Celtic and allowed North End back into it. So North End haven't seemed to be the team they were last year. They don't seem to be finding it as easy.
They'll have Paul back fully now.
Yeah, I know that, but they still just don't seem to be finding it as easy as they have. So and which is brilliant for the Wexford League. Like nobody wants to see a 2-horse race year in, year out. So hopefully we can have a Fort Celtic, a Moyne, a Shamrock Rovers across the Beg, a North End, a Gorey, everybody.
I think Fort Celtic will get something at the weekend. I think they're in good form, and as you said, North End, we don't really know what sort of form they're in.
Well, it'll be good for the league in general.
Well, it's an interesting Premier League. Unlucky we have to leave it there tonight. We'll be back next week, and we'll get back to the rest of the divisions next week. So I just want to thank everyone for listening, and thanks again to Fresh Today, and really looking forward to the Mikie being the brand ambassador, and we should have a few more, I think, in the next couple of months, Nicky. So thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Ed.